Deep beneath the waves of the Sea of Japan, an ancient child emperor and his retinue of samurai drown themselves rather than be captured by the enemy. Tales tell of their souls binding to the carapaces of tiny crabs dwelling at the bottom of the ocean. With faces as fierce as the samurai they host, the hekigani are some of the most peculiar-looking crabs in the sea. The question is, how much influence do we as humans have in life, death, and taxonomy?
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy, your 30 minutes of interesting animal info. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
And we're going to talk about something spooky today? Some ghosts, maybe?
Yeah, this sounds like a Halloween episode, but it's not Halloween.
No.
Your spooky Easterish time tale.
Springtime ghosts.
There you go.
We always get to this point, and I'm always like, do we say the name of it?
Yes, we do. The name of the crab is the hekigani.
Hekigani?
Sure.
I like it that way.
Okay. Every time you say it, you have to do it with like the angry Japanese man voice.
Gudetama? Like that.
Yeah.
That means an egg.
Is
sad egg.
Is that the Japanese word for sad egg?
I don't know.
Or is that just the name of the sad egg character
I think it probably means something, but I think it means sad egg.
That'd be pretty funny if it did.
I think it means sad egg, but I'm not sure.
That's so not creative of them.
But in this episode, I'm going to be general facts, and you're going to be...
You're general info. I'm major facts.
Who am I?
Now you outrank me.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is the taxonomical breakdown of the hekigani?
Let's do it. Kingdom. Animalia. No, it's still Animalia.
I was going to say fungi.
Phylum, Arthropoda. Class, Malacostraca.
I think there's an R there. Castraca. Malacostraca.
Wow.
Did you not put the R in?
I didn't.
Oh, no?
No.
My notes are written as well, so it may or may not be there.
That sounds better.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Order, Decapoda. Family, Dropidae?
Doripidae?
Oh, yeah, Doripidae. I practiced these, then I forgot them. Genus, Hycaeopsis.
Okay.
And the species is Japonica, or Japanesa.
It's probably a hard C.
Probably a hard C.
Japonica?
Like
I don't know.
Like the Sea of Japan.
Japonica?
So your binomial nomenclature will be Hycaeopsis Japonica.
Hycaeopsis Japonica.
Yes, yeah. That's the latest craze in anime.
Sayonara. And I just leave.
Yeah. That's the end. That's the last episode.
So what can you tell us about this particular crab?
Well, it's a crab that lives in the Sea of Japan.
Okay.
It likes to crawl around on the bottoms and on the rocks, and it does what crabs do. But I think it's important for the viewer to know, the viewer of the screen that's displaying all the audio. It's important for them to know how this animal measures up.
Oh, we're just leaping into this.
Oh, yeah.
This segment.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're measuring up.
Okay, so this is a crab.
Wow me.
With a width of about 15 strands of spaghetti are thick. So you've got some strands of spaghetti.
Oh my gosh. Did you pick the weirdest ones?
So you got strands of spaghetti. And it's not the length of the spaghetti.
Cooked or uncooked?
Cooked. I'm not a monster.
So then it has a little bit more like girth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then about 20 grains of sand.
It weighs as much as 20 grains.
Oh, no. It's the width of 20 grains of sand. You'd think... I think about sand as being way smaller than that. So basically, it's the width of its carapace, which is the shell. It's the body, not including the legs. The width of it is
hold
about...
on. Did you just say carapace?
I was putting a little mustard on it.
Okay.
Carapace.
Get that mustard off of my carapace.
I was doing some Carl Sagan things and saying weird words.
Do you usually dip crabs into mustard? That sounds like something you shouldn't do.
I don't think so. Honestly, in my opinion, don't eat crabs. It's disgusting.
Really?
It's just a repository for butter.
I like crab.
No way.
I like crab bisque.
You like imitation crab, probably.
No, I went to the crab shack, and I liked it there.
Okay. I'm sorry, the Crab Shack, one of the finest establishments.
It is pretty nice.
It's called a shack.
So is the Love Shack.
I don't want to go in there either. That's all I got on its size. There was not a lot of information.
Wait, so did you say how long it actually is?
An inch.
1 inch. It's carapace?
Yeah.
Or carapace?
Yeah.
Not including its legs.
Not including its legs.
Okay. That's a really small crab.
It's pretty small, yeah. There's smaller ones, like hermit crabs.
Sometimes hermit crabs can be pretty big.
They can be. That's the thing about crabs, is that they can grow. They range in size a lot.
Okay, yeah. But this is probably on the lower end of the crab size spectrum.
Yeah, if you go to the Keys and you look and you're like kayaking through mangroves and stuff and you see those crabs in the trees, those are pretty small ones.
Those are fiddler crabs, and they can get to be about like the size of your thumb. So
that's smaller than what we're talking about here.
No, your whole thumb from the tip to like
I thought you meant like just the.
No, then that would be an inch.
Yeah,
and then that's there we have the hekigani.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so speaking of carapaces, let's talk a little bit about what a carapace is.
It's like when Sagan says human. It's like great.
Carapace. Sorry.
Like instead of vase, it's vase.
Carapace. A carapace is like the shell that is found on crustaceans for the plebeians.
You're just all over the place. For the plebeians?
Spiders, arachnids, and turtles. Did you know that? Turtle shells can be considered a carapace.
That makes sense. Because they can't leave it.
Right.
So it's kind of just like a hard shell that's part of their body. It's not like a snail shell.
Right. So it's a protective cover over their squishy bits, typically in the middle of their bodies. In crustaceans, it protects the thorax, which is where I think organs live, right?
Yeah. Well, like not
pretty much everything lives there in a crab except for the legs.
I think most of the organs in like a spider live in the abdomen because they don't have a thorax.
Right. Carapaces.
Did you say crustaceans?
Yeah, I'm talking about crustaceans.
Yeah, I have no idea why I brought up spiders.
Well, I did say arachnids have a carapace.
Okay.
So what is it made of, you think? It's probably what?
Steel?
Steel, maybe like keratin, like a rhino horn. No. It's made of something called chitin.
Oh, yeah.
It's calcified chitin, which is also found in fungi cell walls, squid beaks.
Okay.
Cephalopod beaks.
Also thought that was keratin.
No.
Until just now.
And fish scales are all made of this.
All fish scales?
That's what I found, yeah, chitin. And in crabs, it's heavily calcified.
Okay.
So when you add calcium, whatever the heck chemistry, into the chitin.
Put some calcium.
Just pour some milk onto it.
Add a dash of chemistry.
If you basically
throw that on a crab.
If you pour milk on a fish, it turns into a crab.
Okay.
Not really. But if it mineralizes, if you mineralize chitin, it becomes hard like a crab shell.
Kind of like the mineralization on the fists, the flying fists of the indomitable mantis shrimp.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if that's also chitin.
Okay. It probably has a carapace. It is an arthropod.
Yeah, it definitely has one.
Is that like kind of being an arthropod by definition sets you apart? You have a carapace? Carapazio?
No, because arachnids have it. And also turtles.
They're arthropods. No, yeah, you're right. Turtles. Turtles are not. Arachnids are.
So it's kind of a blanket term. You know what else is a blanket term? Rostrum. Rostrum is basically any protruding facial feature on an animal. It's like this huge term in the animal kingdom.
Okay.
So a rostrum can be anything from...
It's not just a mix between Ross and a Nordstrom rack.
Wow.
Rostrum rack.
It's like the Taco Bell and KFC of retail shopping.
Anyway.
Oh no, a rostrum is like a lot of fish have it, like the sawfish, you know?
Okay.
That's a rostrum.
I know that like the rostral part of an animal is like their head part.
Yeah.
So it's like a plane.
Like a bottlenose dolphin kind of has a rostrum.
So not all animals have rostrae.
No. I mean, it's a large, like, overarching term that describes things that are not related at all.
So your average, like, smash face fancy cat doesn't have a rostrum.
I don't think you can accuse any smash face fancy cat
of having a rostrum.
But what can have a rostrum is like stuff like lobsters and crabs and other crustaceans, and it comes right off the carapace. So the carapace will come to some kind of point or ridge or shelf that covers and protects the eyes.
Like a hull. They have like a ship's hull on their face.
Yeah. So that's a rostrum. So
okay.
When you look at a lobster and think, wow, that part in the front looks pointy, I wouldn't want to touch that. That's a rostrum. And the ghost crab, the samurai crab.
The hekigani?
Yeah, hekigani. Doesn't really have a very long, pointy one, but it does have, its carapace does come to like a ridge, and sometimes it has spines or spikes on it.
So it's like a hat.
Yeah, it's exactly like a baseball cap.
Okay.
Only it's the rest of the cap is its entire body.
Okay. Does it use this rostrum to push its face into things and hurt them?
Nope, it just protects it from stuff getting in its eyes.
All right.
It's like eyebrows.
Don't its eyes like come out on stalks?
But like if it runs into something or bumps into something, it's not going to have like eye explosions.
Oh, that's good. Number one on the to avoid list.
Let's talk about limbs. We've talked a lot about the carapace. Let's talk about the other thing. Let's shine some light on the rest of the body.
And the limbs.
And that's pretty much just limbs.
It's just two things.
Yeah. So they have two sets of legs, two short and two long, typically. So if you just like have a cursory glance at one of these guys, you might say, well, it only has 4 legs. But nah, it's a regular crab. It's got 8.
It should have 10.
Like a respectable... Well, I'm not including the claws yet.
Okay, because it's definitely in order Decapoda, which implies that it has 10.
Yeah. I'm talking about them walking legs.
None of them pinching legs you got. Don't give me them pinching legs.
So it's got and it's one after the other. So you got a short one and you got a long one and you got a short one and you got a long one.
Okay.
And it looks funny to me. Why?
Did you find out why?
No.
No.
Couldn't find anything out about it. Now we can talk about the crab claw. Did you know crab claw is actually called a chela? Chela is what it's called.
It's not Aquila and the bee?
Chela.
Kila, yeah, sure.
I looked at the pronunciation and it says Kila.
All right.
Or Kile is the plural.
Okay.
And now you know everything that there is to know about the Hikigani crab, and there's nothing interesting or weird about it. End of episode.
Oh, you're being coy.
Oh, I'm being a coy, covered in chitin.
You know that's a joke in the marine biologist world.
So, is there something interesting about it?
Let me spin you a tale.
Oh, okay.
Spin you a yarn. The tale of the heki. Not the hickey. Kids. The heki. Also known in Japanese as the Heki Monogatari, which is a medieval Japanese epic poem. It was written probably around 1190 to 1221 Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. And so it's kind of like the Japanese version of the Iliad, except way less ancient. And it kind of details this whole rise and fall of an empire,
which
and
is a real
hero.
War.
Yeah, it is based off real events, but obviously with a lot of supernatural elements woven throughout, like the Iliad.
Okay.
So I read that the definitive version of this poem, the one that we have today, was recited by memory by a blind priest in 1371 and recorded by his disciple. So I don't know what it used to say.
You made it up.
But this is what we've got. Like we said, it's based on the real life war between the Taira, which is the Heke. In the poem, they're called the Heke, but in real life they're the Taira.
What are they?
They're the family.
Okay.
And then the other family is the Minamoto, but in the poem they're called the Genji.
Okay.
So this is like the Capulets and the
Romulans.
I was literally about to say Romulans too. No idea what it's Capulets and the
Montagues.
other one. Montague. Why Romulans? That's not even close.
Why do we both think about Romulans?
I have no...
Megan would be so upset.
Yeah, she would.
So disappointed.
Romulus and Remus, I guess?
Maybe.
Anyway, so you have these two families that have been fighting, and it actually, like, split the country in civil war back in the ancient times. And so the Heke were defeated in naval combat. And the Heke Emperor, which was a 7-year-old child, rather than face defeat, he and his samurai drowned themselves, which in ancient times, the average person could not swim. They didn't have pools. So drowning yourself meant jumping into the ocean and then just waiting to drown. So that's what happens in the story. I'm not sure if it happens in real life.
Seems like such a bad decision.
To drown yourself?
Like, as opposed to something else.
Well, as you know, the Japanese were not big on being captured.
Oh, no. I mean, like...
seppuku?
Yeah.
There was, in the poem, I read a section, and I didn't write it down here, but they're, like, longing for this kingdom under the sea. So they're actually, like, wanting to be transported to the spiritual realm that lies beneath the ocean.
Under the sea will be our capital.
Yeah, something like that.
Is from that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or something like that.
So with this story in mind, there's obviously with the...
under the sea.
You had to sing that.
I had to.
With the Japanese mythology, souls need to be attached to corporeal objects to be transferred from one realm to the next. So what else to transfer to but the creatures living in the sea? So the interesting thing about these crabs we've been talking about, the Hekigani, is that their carapaces, carapum.
I'll have some pie if you're giving it up.
No, later.
Oh, okay.
And so their carapaces look very similar to angry Japanese samurai masks. Mm-hmm. So you picture a samurai mask with like the fierce eyes and the tusks and the crazy like wide like grimace.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to instill fear in their enemies. Well, if you look at this crab, like type in Hekigani, Heikegani,
or just samurai crab,
or samurai crab. Because there's been a lot of like tattoos and art based on this, but yeah, it looks just like it. Very detailed.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't look much like a human face as much as it looks like this like samurai demon face, but it's remarkable. And there are some views for why this happened.
What's the
Japanese mythological view is that the emperor and his retinue of samurai, their souls lost in the sea, were bound to these crabs.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like a point of reverence. You don't want to eat or kill these crabs, and that'll come in later. So that's why they look like that. Nowadays, there are two opposing views for why the crabs look like this. One view, proposed by Mr. Sagan himself, as we've been
Carl
making fun of his accent of humans and carapace.
Well, he didn't say that, did he?
I think he said carapace.
Oh, okay.
So the theory that he postulated in episode 2 of Cosmos is that Japanese fishermen from 1371 to very recently, whenever they would catch one of these crabs that looked a lot like a samurai mask, they would throw it back in reverence. If they caught a crab that did not look much like a samurai, they would kill and eat it. So over centuries of doing this, you would eventually have crabs that the only surviving crabs would be the ones that look like samurai. Those would be the ones that would be thrown back so that they could have more little like samurai ghost crab babies that look just like them, and then the ones that don't look as much like samurai would be eaten and not be able to reproduce. It's the process of natural selection for like small adaptations. So it's like some people will call it artificial selection, but we're part of nature, so it would be ultimately natural selection. A predator are predating upon a certain species and favoring
not eating certain things.
Yeah, favoring one genetic trait over another. Hence, the one genetic trait becomes the dominant trait in the species.
Just like a butterfly with those spots that look like eyes, you know?
Yeah.
It looks like a scary face to perhaps a predator. And then they won't eat that because it's like, that's a scary face looking at me. I'm going to walk away.
And I'm going to eat the one that doesn't look like a scary face.
Right.
And so now there are only butterflies with scary faces.
Right.
Scary face, scary face, scary face. So that's Sagan's view. He's no longer around to defend it, but now we have people like Joel W. Martin who postulate a different view. They think that Joel thinks that we are simply wired to see human faces in things like trees and toast and Doritos and clouds.
Which is probably true, like the man in the moon.
Yeah. And which makes sense because, it helps to be able to recognize someone's face quickly and analyze it for like emotional cues and things like that. So, yeah, I can see there's a word for it that I didn't end up finding. But that's just the phenomenon of recognizing a human face before you recognize other objects. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we see a face in these crabs is purely coincidence, according to Joel. And here's what he uses to back this up. The first thing is that, like you said, these crabs are 1 inch long. So with their carapace. So you crack this open and you're going to get like
a spoon,
a half a thimble of meat. So how many crabs are you going to have to like painstakingly crack open and kill to eat to get a meal?
Like a full seafood and crab sub sandwich from Subway.
Yeah, probably like
15.
Yeah, a lot of crabs. So it's not really worth it to get the food out, and even now, like, they're not really a food source. So they may have been sometime in the past, but there's no real evidence of them being a food source. So that's a pretty strong argument. The other strong argument is, which I think is the strongest argument, is the fact that other crabs in the family Dorippidae look like samurai, and they don't live near Japan.
Ah.
So you have the family Dorippidae. We're talking about the genus Hycaeopsis and the species Japonica, but the genus Dorippodes, something different. So it's Dorippidae and Dorippidace. They live near Singapore. And then there's another one, Paradorippe, and don't quote me on this. I couldn't find where they live. The closest thing was like maybe Russia. So not close to Japan. At least the Singapore thing is right. And they obviously in Indonesia, they, at least in the medieval times, didn't have the Heike Monogatari.
But, ghosts can travel pretty far in an ocean current.
That's true. If they took the East Australian current, they could be in Singapore in no time, especially in the spirit world. So I kind of have to. At first, I'm like, man, this theory of Sagan's fits perfectly. It sounds so good. But then, like, the fact that they're not used as food, and it makes sense that they wouldn't be used as food, and then also the fact that you can see, like, pretty much the entire family Dorippidae, they look like faces. Some of them look more like Darth Maul faces.
I mean, I've seen some of the other ones, and they don't look as much like.
I think you should look at Paradorippe. It looks like you're looking at the Hekigani crab.
Oh, okay.
It looks just like another samurai mask. So, yeah.
I like the ocean currents.
The ocean
theory.
currents taking the souls of the drowned samurai. Or are you looking it up?
I was going to, but I can't remember what you said.
You can look at it
I'll
later.
listen back.
Take my word for it. These other crabs look very similar, also like samurai. So I leave it up to you,
To me,
Joe, and the listener, to decide which theory you think is correct. Because this is so ancient, it's kind of hard to tell. Personally, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I can see it being that. Maybe they look even more so like the exact art, man. Like,
but look at all the
you
other
put them
ones.
side by side, they're 100%.
If you
100% match, facial recognition, zoom in, enhance.
What if is that a Blade Runner reference? I just thought of this, so I'm just like
Spitballing.
But what if the samurai modeled their masks after these crabs?
Fair point.
It was in like 1190. So
what if they were like, that's a scary face?
yeah, it's like I would like to model my. They even have like the mouths with like the teeth coming out. They're like little vestigial legs coming up their butts. That looks just like.
And honestly, it's actually the front.
That's the front.
Yeah, that part is the little baseball cap.
I can't tell which one's the front because their claws look so much like regular legs. They don't have like well-defined big pincers like other crabs do.
That part of the mask, the mouth, the weird teeth, doesn't really make sense anatomically.
That's their face, you said?
Like in the art.
Oh. No, like the teeth. You want big teeth to be like.
But they're
scary.
not big sharp teeth. They're like round.
They have tusks. Sometimes they have
okay.
like these sharp tusks. Oh, and I forgot to mention also that the lines that kind of make up the face that you see on the carapace match up with they're not just vestigial. They're not just decorative like a butterfly's, the eyes on a butterfly. They're part of like the joints and muscle movement of the crab itself.
Okay.
That's why all the crabs in this genus kind of have those lines. And then like I've seen crabs in other genera, like blue crabs and stuff. They have lines on it and it doesn't look anything like a samurai mask, but the general like the hourglass shape of the hourglass lines on either side, the symmetrical ones, they're there. And then just on the hekigani, you have the hourglass lines kind of have like end in eyes and have like the mouth, but it's part of like how crabs move,
right?
And how their legs are all attached to this like central joint mechanism. So the fact that it plays like a practical role in the crab's existence, the fact that the crab is not really that great for eating, especially when you don't have like fancy machinery to actually extract the meat. You have to do it by like samurai sword. And the fact that other crabs around the world share the same face tells me I have to agree with Mr. Martin here and not Mr. Sagan.
Well, I'm still subscribing to the ghost currents idea, but
it's so cool. And plus, you've seen you can see tattoos of like these crazy samurai faces on
crabs
and like fighting and stuff like that. But so that's the samurai ghost crab, the hekigani.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you are eating crabs or throwing them back into the ocean based on superstitious soul beliefs, it's all part of life, death, and taxonomy. Whoa, that thing almost killed us.
Yeah. Who knew you couldn't use your newfound ghost samurai crab skills to fight an orangutan? If only there was a show.
No. I'm not doing the promo.
Come on. We gotta. Wait. What was that in the bushes?
Oh no. Not again. Decapod stance.
That didn't work the last time.
Oh, hey guys.
Ah! Oh, hey, Rhett, fellow podcaster and host of the Brain Trust Brothers podcast and the Brain Trust Brothers Network. What brings you to our nightmare?
Well, I saw you guys were in your run-of-the-mill deadly orangutan chase and thought you might need a hand. My podcast network's been living in these parts for a while and can help you out with your primate problem.
Oh, yeah? How's that?
Join the tribe. We can offer you protection and loads of great networking opportunities.
Sounds like a promising way to avoid ape pummeling.
Nice. I gotta go, but the next time that you need help, give me a shout.
Wait, where can we find you?
You can find us on braintrustbros.com, and there you will see a list of all of our shows, from literature to sports murder mysteries.
Okay, cool.
Remember.
Got it. Great.
Remember.
Okay, we will.
Remember.
He's gone.
Am I still feeling the effects of that snake venom, or did he just float away in a giant cumulonimbus cloud?
Yeah, man. He Mufasa'd the heck out of here. So, does that mean Life, Death, and Taxonomy is in the Brain Trust Brothers network now?
Yeah, and you can find all of our episodes at braintrustbros.com.
And should the listeners stay tuned for more cool things in the near future?
Yes, they should. Now let's get out of here before that great big Bornean comes back.
This podcast is brought to you in part by the Brain Trust Brothers Network. For more information about this podcast or others, visit braintrustbros.com.